All right, today we're going to decode a message from deep, deep space. And no, it's not from aliens, but its source is so important that we literally carved it onto a map for them. It's a pulsar, one of just 14 used as celestial signposts on the golden plaques of the Pioneer and Voyager spacecraft, a map designed to lead any intelligent life straight to us. So what's so special about this one cosmic lighthouse? Let's dive in. Our journey is going to take us 23,000 light years from home to a little constellation called Vulpecula, or the Little Fox. And from this tiny patch of sky, a star is beaming a radio signal right at us. It's a message of incredible precision, but also incredible complexity, one that's taken us decades in our most powerful telescopes to even start to figure out. So, the source of this signal is a pulsar, and its official name is B1933+16. Its radio signature is as unique as a fingerprint, and in this explainer, we are going to peel back the layers of that signature, from its steady, average pulse all the way down to the chaotic split-second flickers that are hiding deep, deep inside. Okay, so what exactly is a pulsar? Well, imagine a star much bigger than our sun dies, and its core collapses. You get an object with more mass than the sun, but it's squeezed down into a ball maybe the size of a city, and it's spinning hundreds of times a second. As it whips around, it shoots out beams of radio waves from its poles, and if one of those beams happens to sweep past Earth, we see a pulse of energy. It's just like a sailor seeing the flash from a distant lighthouse. Blink, blink, blink. Now, this particular pulsar, B1933+16, is an absolute goldmine for scientists. For the legendary Arecibo telescope, it was the brightest of its kind in the entire sky. It spins on its axis every 359 milliseconds. That's almost 3 times every single second. Its brightness and its really distinct signal make it a perfect laboratory for us to test our ideas about the wild physics going on inside these incredible objects. So, to even begin to understand this pulsar, the first thing scientists do is look at the big picture. They don't just look at one pulse. No, they average thousands and thousands of them together to find the stable underlying pattern. And when they do that, something amazing happens. A clear, consistent shape rises out of all the noise. This right here is the pulsar's average pulse profile, its unique fingerprint. For a long, long time, this stable shape was pretty much all we could study, and it told us a lot about the basic structure of the pulsar's beam. And the best theory we have for what that fingerprint means is something called the core/cone model. The idea is that the radio beam isn't just one solid thing. Instead, it has a bright central core, kind of like the hot spot in the middle of a flashlight beam, and it's surrounded by one or more fainter rings, or cones. It's this structure that gives that average pulse its very specific shape. But here is where the scale just becomes mind-boggling. A study back in 2016 used this average pulse to figure out exactly where that signal is coming from, and the answer? This incredibly powerful radio beam is being generated just 200 kilometers above the surface of a star that's only about 20 kilometers wide. It's just an astonishingly compact and powerful engine. But that average fingerprint, as stable and clean as it looks, is actually hiding a much, much messier reality. To see it, we have to stop averaging. We have to start looking at each individual flash from that cosmic lighthouse. So, what does a single pulse from this star actually look like? Is it just a weaker version of that nice, clean average? Or is something way more complicated happening every time it spins around? Well, the answer, uncovered in a 2025 study using the huge, FAST telescope, is that the individual pulses are all over the place. They're incredibly variable. Researchers found that this pulsar isn't just flashing in one consistent way. Instead, it's constantly switching between 4 completely distinct emission modes. It's almost like it has 4 different moods. And these 4 moods are all about which part of the beam is brightest at any given moment. So in mode A, that central core shines through loud and clear. In mode B, the front edge of the cone is what's really bright. Then in mode C, it's the back edge of the cone. And finally, in mode D, both of the outer cones light up, but the core in the middle goes dim. This thing is constantly changing its look. And here's the thing. This switching isn't random at all. This pulsar has its favorites. It spends almost half its time in mode C with that trailing cone lit up, and another 39% in mode A, with the core dominating. This tells us that the physics inside the pulsar's magnetosphere are flipping between a few different sort of semi-stable states. So we've gone from the average of thousands of pulses down to the 4 modes of a single pulse. But guess what? There's one more layer. We can zoom in even further, right into the hidden texture of the radio wave itself. You see, inside every one of those single pulses, there are even faster, smaller flickers of energy. We call them micropulses. If a single pulse is one flash, think of micropulses as the tiny, shimmering sparks that actually make up that flash. This is the absolute finest level of detail that we can possibly detect right now. And how fast are they? I mean, really, how fast? The 2025 study measured a typical micropulse from the star. It lasts just 127 microseconds. That is an absurdly, almost meaninglessly short amount of time. To give you some perspective, in the time it takes a housefly to flap its wings one time, this pulsar can send out over 1,000 of these individual micropulses. It's staggering. Now, for years, scientists wondered if these tiny flickers were just random noise. But that 2025 study found the crucial link, the smoking gun. They discovered that micropulses are not random at all, not even close. They show up almost exclusively when the pulsar is in mode A and mode C, its 2 favorite modes. In the rarer modes, they're basically gone. So this is the big deal right here. The absolute smallest, fastest events we can measure, these microsecond flickers, are directly tied to the larger pulse-to-pulse changes in the pulsar's mood. The macro and the micro are connected. It's not just random noise, it's a fundamental part of how the emission works, and it's probably the signature of these turbulent plasma storms raging near the star's magnetic poles. Okay, we've journeyed deep inside this one signal from one star. So what's the big picture here? Why do astronomers spend years and years picking apart these faint signals from thousands of light years away? Well, this table really summarizes our whole journey perfectly. You see, back in 2016, the focus was on the average signal, which helped us pinpoint where the emission was coming from. Then, just a few years later, the 2025 study zoomed in on the individual pulses and uncovered these hidden dynamics, the 4 modes, and how they're linked to micropulses. Each study builds on the last, giving us a clearer and clearer picture of this amazing object. So what should you take away from all this? First, a pulsar signal is not a simple beep. It's the symphony of complexity with layers upon layers of structure. That smooth, average fingerprint is really just an illusion that hides dramatic changes happening pulse to pulse. We've seen how this one star switches between at least 4 distinct moods, and how the tiniest, fastest flickers in its signal are directly connected to them. And these details aren't just trivia, they are vital clues that help scientists test their theories about the most extreme physics in the universe, under conditions we could never, ever hope to create here on Earth. It's just an incredible reminder that even in what seems like simple static from a distant star, there are entire worlds of information just waiting for us to decode them. Analyzing a signal like the one from B1933+16 shows us how much we can learn just by listening carefully. And it really leaves you with the question, what other secrets are hidden in the static from the stars?